people would ask me, well, are you still a homosexual? Are you heterosexual? And I'd say, I'm maxsexual. Thank you very much. This is the man I love.
Hello, and welcome to the Queer Vision Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Becca. And today I sat down with Judy. Judy is phenomenal. She has her own podcast with two other folks, and it is called Out on the Edge. And then, we talked about her relationship with her husband, who transitioned years ago. And we just talked about life and how we can help each other and what community means. So sit back, relax, and listen to life lessons. So usually how we start is we just have you introduce yourself, your pronouns, and then anything about you you'd like to say. Yep. Go on ahead. Tell us about you.
I'm Judy McCord, she, her pronouns, and I'm just 79 years and 3 days old at this point in my life. And I wake up every day to new magic and just loving being alive in spite of all the hair that's going on around us. I've been an advocate for people of all shapes and sizes and genders and ages for, 70 years at least. Probably didn't care too much about it my first 9, but
that's fair.
My mom had a T-shirt that said, "A woman's place is in the House and in the Senate."
Aww.
And that was my mom. So I learned early on to care about other people and support them, stand up for them. And it was first probably women and then teachers and children and pretty soon gay people, but I wasn't real certain if I was an ally or I was on the other side of this particular. Mm-hmm. So I spent 20 years married to a man who was not the man of my dreams. And I had a son who was the baby of my dreams. And after 20 years, I met my current person of my dreams. And he was my wife for 13 years, although we weren't married. And then at the 13-year point, he said, I'm really a man. And I said, what? You what? And he said, I'm going to start my transition. And I said, the what? What are you talking about? So of course I went through, oh my God, what are we now? Who am I going to be? Am I still a lesbian? What's the story? How am I going to live with this? So we worked on it. We made it work. It took us a while to kind of settle into who we are still for one another. We discovered that our love was not about body parts. And so we've been hanging in there, just thrilled to be alive and with each other. Our 40th anniversary is this year, 4 decades together. And it's just every minute of it has been fun. What I'm doing right now is I'm on the Department on Aging, Orange County Department on Aging, LGBTQ plus senior resource team. I sometimes get all the words in the wrong order, but you get the idea.
Right.
So I'm like a super ambassador for gay folks in my generation in Orange County. And it's been delightful. It really it's intergenerational work. It's work where we can get together and hold each other up and then go on out and do our stuff where it's not quite so loving. So I took a 10-day break and didn't use my phone, wasn't on social media at all, didn't listen to any news. I had to go la 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 when my husband wanted to talk to me about the news, and I just nope, not doing it. So that was a game changer for me in my where I am currently in my head and my body and in my community. I now get up and I walk my dog, and I come in and have breakfast with Mac, and I do some Sudoku and some word puzzles. And then I write in my journal. And then we do a long walk with the dogs, 2 miles every morning. And then I come in and have lunch and check my emails. So that's the morning stuff that gets me grounded in my day in the midst of all the things that keep us ungrounded.
Right.
And that does really support what I want to do for my community, because I can then get up out of my house and say, here we go, guys, let's do this thing. It's probably the best place I've ever been in my whole entire life, mentally, physically, all of that. So that's me.
It's amazing. I love that. I love that so much. And first off, happy late birthday.
Thank you.
So you're what does this make you? What is before Cancer? Gemini? Is it Gemini?
Gemini. Yes, indeed. Yep.
Love it.
Proud Gemini.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm a Gemini rising, so I'm basically one of you, you know?
Yeah. Close enough.
Close enough.
Gemini adjacent, right?
Gemini adjacent, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I love that. I love that you are like making your own boundaries because I feel like that's something that's very important and that we lose sometimes in the technology age of like, no, you can't put your head in the sand. You have to know everything that's going on because it's a privilege and blah, blah, blah. And like, you don't want to seem like you're not caring about things that don't affect you. But at the same time, like if we focus on everything that's going on, nothing's going to get done.
Right.
So
Right.
you really have to take care of yourself. You have to decide which focuses you're going to do your best at and support everyone else that's doing the other focuses so that we can all get things done. So I really like that.
Actually, that's absolutely essential. If we're going to make a difference, we have to take care of ourselves first. This is my husband behind me, not
Hi, husband.
Not getting in the way of the interview. See ya. And he's probably going to warm up some coffee. No, I'm in the middle of an interview. He's giving me the side eye kind of.
Yep. Husband.
He'll be out of the room in just a minute. He's finishing up my birthday cake.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wait,
I had my triglycerides checked yesterday and they have spiked out the wazoo. So I'm eating too much sugar. So I made him eat the whole birthday cake. He's suffering so much. He's a sweetheart. I just kept saying enough good stuff about him. The transition turned him into who he was always meant to be. And Lord, there's so much more of him available to me.
Good.
How can you love a person more than you ever have because they transition? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it kind of goes along with what we were just talking about too, of like, when you take care of yourself, you can be more present for other people. And I think that is something that is so clear whenever you see people transition into who they actually are and stop having to hide or feeling like they need to hide, then they're able to actually like be more.
Get out there.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's exactly what, like, it's the same type of boundary of like, once you're able to take care of yourself, you can do so much more for the community, for your family, for your loved ones, like all that.
Yes. And he never used to dance or sing, and he now does both. On the stage, he's been in theater. He's a poet. He's written a stage play. He's written screenplay. He's writing music now. He's composing music. Wrote one piece for me for my birthday 2 years ago. Oh. And is continuing to add to it every year. He's just a brilliant human being, just brilliant. And he's over here going, he's just fabulous. I'm really glad I kept him.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Some men are okay.
Yeah. Actually, when he transitioned, I had some lesbian friends who warned me that I'd better watch out. Once he's a man, he's going to start beating me and he's going to be a horrendous person to live with. And I was, what's not Mac? They just kind of wrote me off as a lost cause. So I didn't mind letting go of that lesbian card.
Right.
All right. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that's one of the things that I'm going to emphasize tomorrow when I speak for the Chapel Hill Pride Promenade opening. And that's to take care of one another, to support everybody in our community, allies and straight people and gay people, lesbians, trans, everybody, every age. We've got to hold on to one another to keep each other safe. And happy and balanced. That's just the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not, there's nobody up there in DC standing up for us, or in Raleigh either. We really have to do it for one another.
We do. And I mean, that is a very important statement. And I think sometimes people get very caught up on the label and the identity. And like, I know why they're there. They're there so you can find your community, right? Like they're there so that you can say, okay, I am bisexual. I'm going to find other bisexual people because they have similar experiences to me. But it turns into, well, okay, you're not this label, you're that label, so you're other. And I think that's where it's dangerous, right? Of like, we are still people and we are still queer, and there are straight people that are queer. There are allies that are queer. You know what I mean? And it's all about how you're treated by society, and we should be treating each other with respect. I think that is
absolutely
the biggest thing. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing that was kind of fun when we first got into the position of being a wife of a trans man. And I already forgot what I was going to say. What was it? At that point, I was doing a lot of trans LGBTQ plus education through PFLAG. I was the national Safe Schools coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So I was doing workshops for parents and teachers about their gay students and young ones and how to support them and what they need and what they don't need and what's going to make a difference for them in the classroom and in the family. And one of the things that I just really love to say, people would ask me, well, are you still a homosexual? Are you heterosexual? And I'd say, I'm maxsexual. Thank you very much. This is the man I love.
Yeah.
What's the label? Why do we need a label?
Right.
So that's kind of where I've been with my my label stuff. There isn't a label for a lesbian who is married to a trans man.
Right.
It's a lesbian who's married to a trans man. There's not a label for that, which is good. It's very freeing. We just can think of ourselves as queer.
Exactly. And I think that's why we're so, like, we at Queerlina are so tied to the word queer, because I feel like sometimes whenever you say like LGBTQIA plus, then you have to list all of them because people will feel left out. And we don't want people to feel left out, right?
Right.
There are so many types of people and there are so many identities that I don't even know about because it's not something I've experienced, or it's a different culture, or, whatever. And so I think that's why I am so tied to the word queer, because it is more encompassing and it's more, hey, this is the big umbrella, and hopefully under this big umbrella you'll be able to find other people that have similar experiences to you, But yeah. And so you've talked a little bit about how externally people treated you differently a little bit after Mac, you said his name is?
Mac, yes.
After Mac transitioned, or while the transition was happening. But how did you feel? Like, I mean, you talked a little bit about like, wait, what am I now? Like, who, like that kind of thing. What was that experience like for you, if you're comfortable sharing, and how did you process through it?
Absolutely. When he first started the transition, I wasn't sure what the new relationship might look like and if I'd even be there, or if he'd really want me there. It was just new territory for both of us. So we decided we would need each of us to find our way separately and then go forward from wherever that took us. So we lived apart for about a year, and it was kind of cute. We dated one another. Oh. He took me to a movie. We'd go out to eat. We'd go to the laundromat, just stuff that you would do with a date, right?
I love that.
Neither of us were interested in dating anybody else, which became very clear, pretty quickly.
Good.
So we decided it, isn't about body parts. This is the person I love. And however it lands, we're going to do it together. And we've been building on it, and it's still magic. It's still new to me every day. When I wake up, there's this new, wonderful person in my life. And I say that, people say, oh, yeah, right. Isn't that sweet? It's true. It really is. There are habits we have. We eat breakfast together, but the experience of being together each minute is magical.
Yeah.
It's, I want to say delicious. It's just a delicious relationship.
That is such a romantic way of looking at things. And I think not just like on a relationship sense, but I feel like even the way that you view your mornings, like things like that, it's so romantic to slow it down and just be like, okay, I am going to actually enjoy life instead of just doing the things and checklist and blah, blah, blah. And
right.
Honestly, like as somebody who's about to get married, like this is kind of refreshing, because I feel like I've only been with my partner for 2 years, right? But even in those 2 years, we've changed so much. And like, I love that. And sometimes there is that fear of what happens if we change this way instead of this way, right?
Right.
I think that's kind of refreshing that you've explained, like, well, first off, it's adorable to date again. I think sometimes relationships, when you've been together for so long, you kind of start to take each other for granted. And that's not just romantic relationships, it's friendships, it's family, and so that is adorable. And I love that. And I think that that's something that I want to intentionally do with my partner moving forward, is make sure that we have date nights, right? And we do, but like, they're not planned. I want to plan them. I want it to be cute.
Yes.
So I love that.
Put them on the calendar.
Exactly. On the calendar. Yes. They're in there. They're scheduled, and we have a plan, or we don't have a
plan. And nothing
plan.
else is going to come in and say, well, it's just a date. We
Yes.
can break that to do, but no, don't
Right.
do that. Don't do that.
Love that. And
Yeah.
I love that you are viewing him as a new person every day because I think that is so real. Like I think it's so important to recognize that not only are you changing every day because you have a new experience every day or because you've learned this other thing or the world is falling apart.
There's another thing that is changing. We got a lot of years history, right?
Right.
He's 78 and we've been together for almost half of 40. Yeah, that's close. That's more than half,
That's
actually,
4.5.
isn't it? And we have been able to sort through those 40 or so years before we got together
Mhm.
and kind of unpack some of the stuff that affects our relationship.
Yes.
And yeah, that's the wild thing. And when every now and again I'll have to say, I'm not your mother.
Mm.
And he says, I'm not your first husband.
Yeah.
There's all that stuff that's there. And as we do more work unpacking the prior stuff, that kind of opens space for us too in a
Yeah.
relationship.
That
Yeah.
is so healthy, and that's such a healthy way of looking at it too, because I think that is I mean, again, that's a normal thing, right? To be
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
traumatized by something in your past, or it's a pattern that you've gotten used to, and
Yeah.
now it's coming up, right? And it is so healthy to be like, you were a person before I knew you. You had yes, what you just said pissed me off or hurt me or whatever, but we're gonna unpack that for a hot second and see why
Yeah.
you said it or why it affected me because we need to have
Right. Right. Right.
and that's
Yeah.
how you can keep it from happening in the future, right? That's how you can say, well,
True, and it's so natural for me now. Something will come up and I'll say it and I'll say, "Whoops, I forgot I'm not your mother."
yeah.
And there are days when it comes up and I let it run me for a while, but
Mhm.
we get to the end of the day and we've unpacked whatever and we sleep well.
Yeah.
I recommend it. I
Yeah.
recommend it. Watch the words that come out of your mouth and see if they're the words that you don't agree with.
Mm,
You don't believe everything you think.
yes.
That's the way to go, I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. And
You have
also,
the thoughts come up
mhm.
and we tend to think that's the truth if the thought is there, but you have to look again. It really, yeah, there is that.
Yeah. My dad always used to say, the first thought is what society told you to think, and the second thought is your actual feelings. And so I go with that sometimes. And sometimes it's the same thought and sometimes it's not. But it's
Yeah.
also important, I think, to exactly what you said. Yeah. See if it's actually what you mean to say, but then also look at their reaction and see what they heard. Because I think sometimes
Yes.
you say something and you're just like, hey, this is going to happen if you do this, just so you know. And you're just saying, I'm not sure if you see that is going to happen. And they're saying, you don't want me to do this thing. And I'm like, wasn't the same conversation. We need
Exactly.
to see what
Exactly.
conversation we're
My,
having.
my husband and I have a great communication thing. My hearing isn't real great and his vision isn't real great. So I don't know what he doesn't see and
Right.
he doesn't know what I don't hear. So it's hilarious sometimes. I'll hear something and think, wait, those words don't even go together, and I'll say those words that don't go together. It cracks us up. It
Oh
really
my
does. But that's the thing. Here's what I said. Is that what you heard? That's something I use a lot.
I like that. That is so
Mhm.
helpful. So
It is.
do you do that outside of the relationship too, or is it more so just a focus that you have with him?
Actually, I do. When somebody says something that I don't think is who they are,
Mhm.
I'll say, here's what I heard. Is that what you meant?
Right.
And often they'll say, "No, that wasn't it at all." And that keeps things open in a relationship instead of building a wall.
Yeah.
We don't want the wall. We don't need the walls,
No.
especially now. So
Especially.
if we keep doing that, here's what I heard, we can keep those clean. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure it does.
Yeah, and being willing to hear that too whenever you're talking to somebody and they say, "Hey, here's what I heard," and not getting mad at it is also a step. I think that sometimes people say, "Well, you're not listening to me," or "Well, you're just putting words in my mouth," or, and it's like, "No,
this is what I've heard, and just tell it to me so I get what you mean.
Yeah, we just want to have a conversation. I don't want to be telling you something and you think I'm telling you another.
Right.
We're having 5 conversations going back and
Yes.
that's not conducive. That's not going to help.
Yes. Absolutely. There's another thing that comes up in relationships sometimes, and I'll give you an example that's kind of gross. And if you loved me, you wouldn't do that horrible thing you just did.
Yeah.
And what's true is I love you, and this hurt my feelings. And I don't think you meant to do that. You know, there's the I love you. I love you is the base that we wake up into. And during the day, sometimes stuff gets in the way and we have to stop and say, wait, no, I love you. And I didn't mean to say that horrible thing to you.
Yes.
And that's something that gets in the way a lot of times in relationships, expectations. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a grandmother. What does a grandmother do? I do Judy, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not the one to do all these other things that fit the little mold for a grandmother.
Right.
That's another label.
It is another
Right?
label. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think just like we were talking about, I think labels can also, they can be a tool, right? Right. But also I think they put more stress on ourselves. Like sometimes whenever I pick a label for myself, I'm like, oh yes, I am bisexual. Then I'm like, should I be doing things differently? No, literally nobody I talk to cares. Right. But then I put that expectation on myself, or you're putting those expectations on people that you really care about, that like, they're just figuring their life out. They're just a person.
Exactly. In fact, Mac has told me that several times when I get confused or annoyed by what somebody has done. He stops me and he says, you know, they're just trying to figure it out. This is today's step in that direction.
Yeah.
And that has definitely affected my relationships with my family members. When I have grandsons, one is 30 something and the other is 20 something. And in their 20s, they're trying to get their feet under them. They're not interested in parents or grandparents and sometimes even siblings because they're out there in the world trying to find their way.
Yeah.
And then they've come back to their grandmother and they love me dearly and spend time with me. So yay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's also so important. As my therapist will say, your feelings are valid. It's your reactions that you need to watch, right? And I think sometimes, like, if you recognize yourself getting upset by somebody's actions continuously, then you can say, okay, this is obviously affecting me. I need to have a conversation with them, right? And I think it's honestly something that, like, seeing it from the other side, like, I have lost all of my grandparents. My grandparents are gone. And I have elderly parents. Like, my parents are much older than people's parents for people usually my age. So loss is a big thing for me. And I didn't realize that until like my late 20s, mid to late 20s. But I wish early on that my grandma would have looked at me and said, hey, I think actually it is really important that we hang out for this week, that we always hang out right before school. Because there was a last time I did that and I didn't realize it, right?
Right.
Now I look back and I'm like, man, I wish I had that week with grandma, right? But I think that's something that, like, again, the conversation comes in of like, is it actually like upsetting you multiple times? Do you need to talk to them and say, hey, I actually want to spend more time with you. It's really important. And if they're still gallivanting and they're like, I'm living my life, okay, but you at least had that conversation, right?
Yes. Yeah. No regrets. If you've had the conversation and it's clear, no regrets attached to that.
Exactly.
That's great. That's very great. Yeah. And I just wanted to let you know that I am thrilled to be in touch with and now following what's going on with Queerolina.
Oh, thank you.
I just am so tickled.
Thank you.
So excited to watch you and what you're doing. It's refreshing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I really enjoy it. I really, really enjoy it. I think I felt very lonely when I moved down here because I'm the type of person that just like loves everyone around me. And I'm like, we're best friends. And then I realized they don't do the same usually.
That's not quite the same.
That's not the norm. So when I moved down here, I was just very, very alone, went through a few relationships, still felt really alone and unseen. And I think somehow I started this with Coe and got into the best relationship I've ever had at the same time. And it's just been, the community is just went from nothing to everything. And I love it so much. And now actually I just spent yesterday, and this is like a cool thing that you can know that by the time this comes out, hopefully it'll be like people are using it all the time. But I actually just added a community calendar to our website so people
Oh.
can add in anything they see.
That is great.
Yeah, so it's only going to be queer stuff. Like, it's like we want it to be able to be a hub for queer events, but you can
Well,
put anything in
I'm
there.
going to interrupt you. I will get the information to you about what our LGBTQ plus senior resource team is putting on. Like, we just had a potluck and a movie on Wednesday night. We saw the movie Pride, which is amazing, and got together with 20 other gay folks who have gray hair and make great salads. And that's the sort of thing I would love to have on your calendar.
Hell yeah. And everybody can put it in on their own too. So if you find out about something and you're like, hey, I'm going to this thing, I want more people to go to it, you can literally fill out the thing and just put all the information in and it'll pop up on the calendar.
Woo!
Yeah.
I love.
Yeah. So, but a question just popped up in my head as you were talking too. So you have lived through a lot of different iterations of how people treat queer folks. How do you feel about the right now? Like, there is like a weird mixture of there's somehow way more queer expression than I've ever seen before, and also a lot more strife and
hatred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what is your take on what is happening right now? How do you feel? Do you see it as a pattern? Like, what is going on in your brain?
For me, I had to stop listening to the horrible things that are happening to the trans community because I got to where I just wanted to vomit all the time. And there are some things that Mac will share with me that are wins. You know, here's a great thing that happened today. Thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll share that with me, but I've asked him not to share any of the things like here's another bill telling him he has to use a porta potty instead of the bathroom. I don't want to hear that.
Right.
And flip side is I want more people who've never met a trans person to meet my husband.
Yeah.
I want them to meet somebody as a person and see if that matches their horrible expectations of trans people.
It doesn't.
So that's where I want to go. And I've met a lot of gay men who've never met a trans person, and they love Mac, and they say, wait a minute, this might be just fine.
Yeah.
And I'm here for that.
Yeah. And I love that because I think that's something that like Coey and I have touched on a little bit of, even in the community, there is a lot of judgment. Like, there's a difference between a gay event and a queer event. And it is very, very strong. And sometimes you can't tell, sometimes you can, And
yeah.
Scary and sad. It's very sad.
Yes, it is. We on the radio show consider ourselves queer elders.
Mm-hmm.
That's our label, which I think is fine.
That's cute. That's cute.
It is.
Do you want to talk a little bit about your radio show?
Oh my gosh. Yes. I was hoping you would ask.
Yes, please. Tell us
Oh my heavens. It has become a safe place for people to tell their stories from the get-go, from the not knowing they were gay to the coming out and the reactions in their community and their families and the where they've been from that point and how they've experienced life. It's just a safe place to let that all out. And having it as a podcast somewhere, gay folks can open that up. Youngsters can open that up and listen to a man who's 89 talk about his 2 wives and not coming out until he was in his 70s. And that story was so moving.
Yeah.
And people have access to that. We are letting it out. We are making a record of what's going on in people's lives in the gay community.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And we also we've had great conversations. Of our June 1 episode was to launch Pride. So we talked about our experience of Pride events, and that was cool. That was really fun. My first Pride event was in 1987, and it was the second National Pride Festival in Washington, D.C. And for me, I was less than a year out of the closet.
Wow.
And I was, oh my God, look at all of this. Look at all of these people. And whew, that was my experience in Pride. And Robin, who is recently transitioned, is in her 70s. And her memories of Pride are pretty much as an ally. And this year, she's going to be at the Pride Festival in New York City.
Oh, wow.
with her sister, who has not spent time with her new sister in person since she transitioned. So the two of them are going to New York City to do Pride up there. And it's going to be such a great experience. I just know it is.
I
It's going to
love
be fabulous.
that.
Yeah.
So cool. I like that
It
so
is. So our radio show has really become a place for us to reach out, find resources for our queer community, and just put it out there. We've discovered that there are people who actually listen to our radio show in real time.
Mhm.
And one of them told me Wednesday night that she was driving, had it on her radio, and then she drove out of the rain in the middle of a song that she was listening to. And she, no, that it just tickles me to have people text us saying, this is a great show, keep it up. And that's very rewarding,
I like
very rewarding.
that is so nice. And it is so important to like to make sure that we are not only hearing people's stories so that, you know, people are heard, but also documenting history, like you said.
Yes, yes.
Because we were talking to, if you haven't seen it, Rena the writer, I believe, I don't remember what the name is of the actual podcast episode, but Rena, Rena, she wrote a book about elderly queers.
Oh, you're kidding. I got to write this down.
Yeah, and it's called Mothballs, I think. I think,
my God.
yeah, it's renatherwriter.com, I believe.
Okay.
And then, but if you can't find her, she's on our website. You could find her that way.
Okay. Okay, cool.
But
Very
she's
cool.
amazing. She wrote something and she said that the thing I took the most from that interview was that the reason we are manipulated, because that's truly what it is, into feeling like there are no elder queers and that people grow out of it and that blah, 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 is because if they take the roots away, if they take the future that we see away, then we will feel like it's a phase or we have to hide it and turn it into one. And I think that's like a very important thing to conceptualize as we are getting older too, is like, I'm not just doing this for me. I'm not just doing this for you. I'm not just doing this to make sure that the story gets out there. I'm doing this so that the people that are growing up or that have only known the world with as a president can see, hey, you know what though? There are gray-haired queers. There are people who aren't, they didn't just do it in the 70s. They're doing it now. And they've done it ever since then, right? And I think that is such an important thing to learn.
It is. And it's important for the young, like queer youth right now and trans youth. They're looking at a very scary future. And to have them meet Matt and I, who've been together for 40 years as a lesbian couple, as a straight couple, they could see that there might be a future for me. I can have that. And I don't know how many gay folks are kind of convinced now that they'll never have a normal family.
Right.
How horrible is that? And it's not horrible.
Right.
There's totally brilliant and wonderful and exciting ways to be queer.
Yes.
And there just really are. And to be able to see that. We have a couple of students at UNC who come to most of our events because they like hanging out with old queers, you know, and they're inspiring to us and we're inspiring to them. And it's just a love fest. It's really fun to get together like that.
And that's so positive too, because I feel like, yes, there are so many things that are happening right now. And yes, there are things that we need to do, but in reality, what can you and I do? We don't have the ability to make bills or to, yeah, we could go on, we could march, we could do some stuff, but like you and me specifically as individuals can't do nearly as much. But I think the ripple that we can make is spreading the positivity and the good parts of being queer. And that's
the truth.
Yeah.
And how about the truth? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
There is that. And there is something that I'm also going to mention tomorrow, and that's the fact that if we aren't at the table when the school boards are talking about books, if there's no gay person or queer person, non-binary, however you want to say it, queer person on the school board has no clue.
Right.
Even if they're allies, they don't know what's happening to these kids. They just don't. And Mark Kleinschmidt is someone who was on our show about a month ago, maybe. And he was a member of the town council in Chapel Hill, was a mayor in Chapel Hill. And he was inspired by the man who was the first gay person to be elected in the South. So he inspired Mark. And one of the things that Mark did as, a member of the town council is he proposed a gay agenda. And he had 3 issues that needed to be addressed that no one on the town council had any clue about.
Okay.
They didn't have any idea how a person who didn't match somebody's gender expectations was bullied and practically thrown off a public bus. And they didn't know that happened. They had no idea. So that was safety right there, number 1. I'm going to have to get in touch with him because there were 2 other things that were similar. Experiences that happen in our community that can be handled and fixed by people who know about them and care. What council member would want to have somebody beat up on a bus? I mean, anybody.
Yeah.
So that's something I'm going to get in touch with Mark about that and make sure I have that in my speech tomorrow.
I love
We're
that.
going to rewrite the gay agenda.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also worth noting, I think, that things that affect trans folks don't just affect trans folks. Like, there are cis women who have more masculine features that are now getting targeted.
Getting thrown out of bathrooms.
Yeah, there are cis men, same thing. There are intersex folks. Like, there's so many things that can affect people. And plus, like, if trans people are affected in this way, if queer people, like, let's be honest, they're not going to stop at trans. They're going to say,
they're right. You're right.
We took down the quote weakest, which is the smallest group, right? Took down the quote weakest people, and now we can keep going. Now we can erase this group and this group and this group, and it's upsetting.
It's not okay.
It's not okay.
No,
that's why we need to stand together.
Right. The other thing we can do is find people in our community to run for office and support them.
Yes,
and make sure they win. And so we have more representation where it can make a difference.
Yeah, exactly. It's very important to have the people who know what's going on in the rooms that make it happen. And
yes.
And there are very amazing allies who are doing that work right now. But I think you're right. I think
not enough.
We need some queer folks in there who can make sure that we actually get listened to, because.
Yes, absolutely. And we have to do that in North Carolina more than any place else. For me personally, I want the youth to be able to have the medical care they need when they need it and not wait until maybe it's too late to save their lives. That's here in this state. I have a friend whose trans grandson has to wait until he's 18 before he can get medicine. That's happening right here in North Carolina. That's the rule. And
that is so.
I wasn't going to talk about anything like that.
Well, but it's real.
There we go.
And I think it's like, yes, we want to stay positive. We want to look at the positives that are happening. We want to encourage people to be their best selves, which also includes not getting bogged down in the negatives, right? Not getting overwhelmed with the fact that, oh my God, there's nothing we can do. There is stuff you can do, even if you aren't somebody that can speak in public, or you're not somebody that can go into Congress. Just because you're not a politician doesn't mean you can't make change. It's just going to be a more local change, or it's going to be in one person's life. If you change one person's life and you keep them alive, they will also, it's a ripple effect, because they're going to be talking to
It is.
Right?
It is.
And if
Absolutely.
you introduce, just like you were talking about, if you introduce this group of people who is judgmental to somebody and change this group's feelings about trans folks, about queer folks in general, that's a ripple. That's something anyone can do in some way.
Yes.
And so it's important to stay positive, but it's also important to bring those things up because they are happening. We can't just ignore them. We can't just say, no, everything's happy. We're fine.
Yeah. Or
we can't.
Not my problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I did something probably, I guess it was 2 months ago. I had an effect on a group of people, students in the UNC School of Social Work. They have a legacy storyteller event every year that has a particular focus. And this year it was focused on aging.
Okay.
And I got in as one of the speakers. And I told them my story of Mac and me. And there were people in that audience who had no clue that a trans person could be someone like Mac. That it's important that he be able to be himself, that it's important to the community that he can be himself. It's like he was a shadow before he transitioned, and now he's a brilliant star. He's just, and they could tell that from what I was telling them. They could see, oh, this is what it's like.
Yeah.
And to be able to tell that story and make a difference in that one little bunch of people who are becoming social workers, thank you very much, they now know.
Yeah.
No.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that
Yeah.
so much. And honestly, why do people care? Like,
I
why?
know.
Like, I understand how they could not understand it, but why do they care? You know, like,
I don't get that. I just don't get it. They've given trans people a lot of power over their feelings and emotions.
they have.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
so either you're like obsessed with these people because you are in love with them, or you are one of them and you're just scared, which is fair. But also, I can't believe that you actually don't care about these people if you're this obsessed.
Yeah. And to have somebody afraid of a trans woman in the bathroom, that makes no sense to me.
I'm
No
more
sense. Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus.
I was in an airport and saw a man coming out of the men's room, going into the ladies' room saying, I identify as a woman today. And I'm okay, buddy.
We're all using the toilet. What do you want? Gold star?
Yeah.
Here's pee. Don't eat it in the bathroom. It's gross.
Right.
People are so dumb.
They are.
But we are close to the hour mark. So just, is there anything else that we missed that you'd like to chat about? And also, can you quickly plug your podcast? And
Absolutely. We are broadcast on WCOM LP, Chapel Hill, Carrboro at 103.5 FM Mondays from 3 to 4 in the afternoon. You can stream it live at WCOMFM.org. And they're posted, archived on the Orange County, North Carolina gov/OOTE, which is for Out on the Edge, which we certainly are. Out on the Edge. We have 3 co-hosts, all of us queer women, and range in age from 69 to 79, and just have a blast getting to know people and sharing resources with our listeners and with anybody who listens on the podcast. It's our way of archiving our stories and having our history that is currently trying to be erased. They are trying to erase. They being, who knows?
Who knows? The patriarchy, I guess?
I don't know for sure. But anyway, that's what the show is about. And we invite people to get in touch with us. We are Out on the Edge Radio at gmail.com. If you'd like to be a guest on our show, you don't have to be old. You don't have to be gay. You don't even have to be queer. If you love us, come talk to us. That's what our radio show is about. It's great fun.
That's wonderful.
And we're sponsored by the Orange County Department on Aging. Our government is sponsoring our show. I think that is, that's pretty cool.
I like that. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. Is there anything that we missed that you'd like to talk about, or that we talked about but you want to talk more about?
Well, let me think. I think we've touched a lot of it. I just want to emphasize we've got to hold each other up and hold each other safe. I think the best thing we can tell people to do is get to know one another. Let people in. They need to be heard. And we need to hear them and know that they're safe. That's what's important.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. That's a beautiful sentiment.
There it is.
Well, that's beautiful. And I'm really glad that we got to sit down and have this conversation, and I got to learn a little more about you.
Well, I'm tickled, so tickled. And I want to stay in touch and share resources for sure.
Of course, of course. And check out the calendar, add things to it as you see them.
Okay.
That way we can all try and stay in touch a little more.
I think so. I think nobody knows that we're there. So we got to get the word out.
Exactly.
Yep.
I love this. Well, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for having a conversation with me.
Thank you for listening and for inviting me in. I'm very pleased to have met you and get to know more about you as well. So we're going to keep on keeping on, aren't we?
Hell yeah, we are.
Yeah.
It takes a lot more than this to shut me up, let's be honest.
Yeah. Just try. Just try to shut me up.
The more you try, the more stubborn I get. It's how I was raised.
Me too. And the louder I get. Yeah. Yep. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a really, really good weekend and break a leg up there on stage.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Queer Vision podcast. Once again, I am Becca, and today I sat down with Judy. This was a fantastic conversation. I am so glad you stuck around with us and hopefully learned something, hopefully got some motivation for the rest of your day, the rest of your year, the rest of your life even. And yeah, so go spread some positivity, go help some folks and do what you can. And then go ahead and go listen to their podcast. It's Out on the Edge. They sent you all the information back there, so you should have it down in the comments or in the description. There we go. And then you can check us out at queerlina.org. That's QUEEROLINA.org. There's a plethora of things to learn. There's a plethora of things to get involved. And we have a calendar and a Discord and so many other things. So go check it out if you get stuck, if you get confused, or if you want to talk. Message us, okay? Love you. Bye.